This is a message from your guides reading for the child. So I'm going to go ahead and surround this in some positive space with my jasper here. Okay, so this is the one crystal that I pulled for you, and I'm sure you have the group crystals memorized by now because I still have the sodalite and the zoisite for the group crystals. Okay, so this is a really, really grounding stone. And so again, there's this idea of pulling down higher energies, grounding them. And as I was surrounding you in the protective space, it definitely felt like integration. Your guides are definitely integrating something down. And it was coming down in like this spiral. So they were showing me this spiral going all the way down. And they were showing me a picture of a person in lotus. And the person was all dark, but they had the chakras lit up. So this was like the 7 standard chakras. So all 7 of these were lit up, but the person was dark. And then showing this spiral of this energy coming down through all of these. So this really, okay. Couple of things. So one is integration, like I was saying. It felt like they're integrating something. They're pulling energies, or more, I guess, pushing them in a sense down, but it feels like pulling too. So maybe that's you. maybe you're doing the pulling, you're pulling, they're pushing. No, your guides are doing some pulling too, it feels like. I always want to think of them like up here doing things, but no, I guess they can do whatever they need to do. Yeah, there's definitely there's just some integration. Yeah, so they're trying to send some grounding energies as well too. So that would be the kind of pulling feeling, almost like a magnet kind of feeling. So attempting to ground those energies down that they're sending, but yeah, they are saying that you're doing some pulling too. On your end, or you have been for a while, it feels like. But this just feels like different physical actions, and again, the emotional and mental clearing and everything that they were talking about last week that you've been going through to help prepare you for the physical stuff. Okay, so integration. Now this is of all the different things they've been talking about. DNA repair, this, that, the other. And different physical, bodily stuff, financial stuff, and mental concepts and things like that, and you're kind of grounding certain concepts and ideas kind of further into your aura and your psyche or your subconscious. So there's also some beliefs being grounded down. Okay, so now we'll get into the other thing, though. They keep adding on to this before I move on. But this also definitely is referring to your Kundalini. It was so obvious, like with the spiral of energy and everything that they're showing. So this is also having to do with the Kundalini, and there was a feeling of this, like this is going to happen pretty soon, it feels like. Now, obviously, like things can change. I always put it as how do you say it? Like the almost like the current energy, the way the current energy is going, this is how it looks like it's going to end up. So this definitely feels like something that's going to occur pretty quickly. It feels like probably within the next couple of months, unless something shifts in a direction that might make it take a little longer. It's probably going to be pretty soon. It's going to be like within the next couple of months. That's definitely more probable than anything else. So that's the most likely occurrence to happen with that. It definitely feels like something is being sparked with that. And I feel like they want it to happen pretty quickly. They're definitely trying to speed this process up now, and it feels like you're ready for it. So that's going to be happening soon, and that feels more like a kind of max, like within a couple of months. It doesn't really feel like, again, unless something were to really shift, it really doesn't feel like it's going to take longer than that. And they're saying that it's been a while in the making, so that's good news. Oh, they're going back to some reading from a long time ago where they were talking about some lifetime that you had with psychic abilities where you were a fairy. They're bringing that up all of a sudden. There's something to do with that as well when it comes to what they're attempting to integrate. So it also feels like there are also energies that they're attempting to draw from when it comes to things that you have already experienced. So you can have positive or negative things that are still kind of stuck there in your energy field. So with this, I don't exactly want to say stuck, even though they're kind of putting it that way. So all of your experiences are in your energy field. I feel like the only reason they might say stuck, even with this, even though it's a positive thing, not something that you want to like release. So if we were talking about negativity and it's stuck in there, we'd say stuck because it can't be released. It's bottled up. It can't be released. So in this case, it feels like it's been unusable. You haven't been touching it or tapping into it. So it's just been kind of stifled in there, not really working or being put to use. So even though it's positive, that's the reason that they're saying stuck. Even with something positive like that, psychic abilities, and this kind of, I don't know, like magical kind of quality or energy that you had during that lifetime. And they're saying that's still there, but it's like this specific, there's a very specific energy here that they're trying to draw on from this specific lifetime. So you still have like a playful energy. It does help you manifest and everything, but this specific, there's this very specific magical kind of energy field that a fairy has. And the energy of a fairy, that's almost what they're trying to bring up. And this is going to help enhance different things that they want to surface. So they're saying that some things they're adding to that are already there. Some things they're like drawing up that are dormant or that haven't been used in a really long time. Now, I feel like this fairy energy, there were other lifetimes where you, or at least one other lifetime where you were using this. This feels like quite a ways back. This feels like Egypt. There's a feeling of a lifetime you had in Egypt. There's like a priestess kind of energy there. And they're showing me these sandals. You're wearing these sandals. And there's a lot of desert everywhere. There's a lot of like wind and desert. You have some kind of staff, it looks like. But this might be, I'm not sure if this is something you physically had or if this is almost like symbolic of something. The sandals, though, the sandals you had, they're kind of differentiating with that. So some of this picture is more actual, and then some of this is almost feeling kind of symbolic or something. It feels like there's some kind of energy as well that you're almost drawing upon during this lifetime, and there's something to do with a snake. So I don't know if this is Hathor, maybe. Hathor has the cow too. A lot of the different deities and things did have snakes. But this almost doesn't even feel like it's attached to like a specific deity. Even if it is, it doesn't really feel that way. It's coming in more like a totem. And then there's specifically a cobra as well. And this definitely feels like a power animal that you had during that lifetime. So now it would be more like a totem in this lifetime, but in that lifetime it was definitely like a power animal and you were drawing from it. And it almost feels like you're seeing yourself as the goddess and you're drawing from this specific energy and using its energy. So you're almost connecting with the animal directly and you're almost seeing yourself as the goddess. Almost like you don't need like almost like you don't need to go through the goddess, almost. Now you might be using some goddess energies and tapping into those, maybe some male god energies as well. But it feels like if you have done that, it's more like you incorporating them into yourself, kind of ritual type rituals, it feels like. You're more visualizing yourself as them. More like almost drawing them into yourself kind of thing, like almost like you can be their vessel type of idea. So you're more seeing yourself as them and then just working. So you don't feel like you need to go through somebody else in this lifetime. So they're saying that that is really powerful. They're saying that that's something to definitely absorb from that lifetime. That's definitely something to draw from. So I would definitely look that up as well. The cobra totem. Well, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But actually, the snake a lot of times represents the Kundalini as well, just because of the coiling, how it can spring up and it can also coil in this kind of spiral. So a lot of times you see the Kundalini sometimes represented as a snake. And there's that idea there of the snake all kind of wrapped in this ball, you know, and then it starts traveling up through the different chakras. So a lot of times the Kundalini is represented as a snake. There's also, they're pointing out this kind of creation type of energy that's sometimes associated with snakes, which is true. And then also a lot of times you have wisdom associated with snakes, and a lot of times you have like a goddess of wisdom who will be associated with the snake. Or even in the Bible, the snake is Satan, but he's cunning and he knows everything. So there's still this idea of like wisdom. It's kind of in this like twisted kind of way, where in that version of the story, Eve is kind of more like a bad character in a sense, where she gives into the temptations of the devil or whatever. There are actually other versions of that story, and the snake is seen more as benevolent and coming to help them. And there's even a version of the story where Eve is actually Adam's spirit. And so she's listening to the snake. Getting Adam to listen to wisdom was the idea in some of the other stories. So there are different versions here. But yeah, there's this old idea of the snake being associated with wisdom. Now, another thing they're bringing up is how primal the snake is. It represents like a very primal energy. Even when you think of something primal, like the almost like raw divine energy, like you think of like Shakti, just this kind of force, like the force of everything, like life force. Even that a lot of times can be associated with the snake, and that kind of makes sense just because of how the snake kind of operates. It coils and it strikes. There's a lot of sudden movements with the snakes. A lot with the snake. A lot of times you can't see it. You can observe it until it's there, and then it's probably too late once it's there. So it's very quick moving. It's very keen. And another thing they're pointing out is its tongue, and the fact that maybe it doesn't always have the best eyesight, or it doesn't have our kind of senses. Maybe it doesn't hear the way that we do. Maybe its sense of smell and everything is very different. But it can sense, when it holds out its tongue, it can sense all these different movements. It can sense where objects are by holding out its tongue. So it also has this very keen sense that we don't have the ability to use. I don't know which guide that is, but they're saying, almost like they want me to say it, but I don't really care about that. But it's coming in almost like I would love to, stick out my tongue and just be able to know everything. But we don't operate that way. Humans don't operate that way. So they're saying that that's something to respect about the snake, to observe about the snake and understand that maybe it's sensing things even in an etherical kind of way that we aren't able to yet, if it has these other keen senses. Because it's feeling out like physical vibrations. Yeah, and they're saying when you sense a spirit, that's really what you're doing. You're not sensing really a physical vibration, but you're sensing out this other vibration, this ethereal vibration. Okay, so this other energy, this is something they were pointing out before, and now they're reminding me of it again. So that would be Kali. There's definitely her vibration that I'm sensing as well. This is definitely an energy working with you right now and around you. I also get a feeling of you working with this same entity before, maybe even other entities that almost feel like a group or something. They're not guides, but I feel like you've worked with those energies before. I don't feel like you necessarily called her Kali. I feel like she was represented by something else, some other name. Maybe this is even an Egyptian thing as well. But it feels like you were calling on the same force, the same female kind of entity. And again, it has to do with the snake. But I feel like there's more than one lifetime where you were calling on this same figure. This isn't the only one, though. There's somebody male with this too, associated with this too. And then also there's just this kind of Shakti feeling. So this is like a Hindu goddess, but she's more like the primal energy. She's like the feminine force. So definitely you can call on that energy with some other name, probably with a whole lot of different names. And then there's even this idea that, in a sense, all the goddesses are moving through Shakti. And Shakti is almost like part of the essence of all of the different goddesses, because it's just this sort of feminine, creative force. So even with the idea of calling on any goddess, in a sense, you're calling on this female primal force. But there's also a feeling of you calling on her a little bit more specifically. So this would be almost feeling like calling on other specific, like creator type of goddesses, in other words. So specifically the creator goddess aspect. So this is something, again, to observe, that this is an energy that can operate through you. It can move through you. It can be integrated into you, and it can operate out of you. So in other words, you are the goddess. You are divine. You are the divine vessel that the divine can operate through, but you are also the divine operating through the vessel. So there's both there. There's both aspects there. And it almost depends on what version of you you are looking at. And of course, ultimately, every version is still coming from this one source. So it's all the same, but it has to do with perspective. Each different version has a different perspective of itself, that it's currently seeing itself through and operating from. And as we move up higher and higher, we're seeing ourselves more and more and more clearly. So then we're becoming not only the vessel being operated through by some other higher aspect. We're more becoming the higher aspect. So in other words, we're sort of merging with ourself, and really it just means that we're becoming more aware of who we are. So with awareness, there's less separation, even from ourself. And with awareness, there's integration. And with awareness, there's cooperation. And again, there's integration. So you've released all of this stuff so that you can make space to integrate other parts of yourself that are, in a sense, higher. All it really means is they're more aware. So you're integrating these sort of awarenesses, in a sense, these selves that are aware of different aspects of life, or different perspectives, and different perspectives of themselves or of you. You're integrating that down, and so it makes you more aware of who you are, and it makes you a more complete version of yourself. Okay, so that is all that they have to say for this reading. Okay. So I'm just making sure here, but yeah, that is all that they have to say for this reading. So thank you very much for another one, and I will see you again soon. Namaste.